Okay,
Awesome.
today I have the pleasure of speaking with Ruth Mallon, and she's from Storyteller Promotions. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. So, first thing I would love to chat with you about is, people have this dream of owning their own business and having freedom and being able to work when you want to work. And most people don't ever realize that dream, sadly. But you are a gypsy, so I want to hear, tell us about you and your nomadic lifestyle now and how business works in with that.
We are RV gypsies. Yeah. So we started Storyteller Promotions in 2011 out of Houston. Never had the sticks and bricks. In fact, one of my requirements was after, anyone that's commuted in Houston knows, it's like, I don't want to commute. I don't care what we do, but I don't want to commute anymore. So we always worked out of our house. Um, did everything there. We started in small production and moved into outsourcing for larger projects on that. And in 2021, 10 years later, kids were up and out of the house. It was just the two of us, 2,500 square foot home. And we lived literally in 3 rooms, office, bedroom, kitchen. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we started exploring the RV side of things, and that probably took, I've seen the inside of way too many RVs in the research process until we decided on one. Like we said, this is our home now, so it had to fit both work and running a business from the road and 2 people living in it full time, side by side. We did decide on a 5th wheel toy hauler. So it's about 400 square feet, the size of most smaller apartments, except ours has wheels. So we call it the land yacht, and promo on the road is what the name is. But with internet connectivity and Zoom calls like this, we stay connected. We keep in touch with everybody and still able to grow the network through online networking and meet and greet. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's really, really cool. So tell me, how did you decide on this business, and then how did you start? Like, what were your?
We are your classic happy accidents. I had 20 years in hospitality. My husband, Mike, if you know him, he comes from the corporate security, long-term law enforcement background. And we knew that we were giving all of our time to somebody else. And as anyone on the corporate grind knows, that, your family gets the leftovers. So the inspiration to really kick it off, we went to go see the movie Up. We're Disney fanatics. And that movie was the catalyst and our inspiration for Storyteller Promotions that were on there. I don't know why the wife is the one that always goes first in Disney, but it's like, this is the way it is. So we started looking and actually came across some guy at a home show that was showing that you could print on walnuts of all things, and shown, oh, you could make a t-shirt in your back of your house. And so we went to his little show and tell and said, hey, I buy that stuff in my current role, and my husband did too.
Sure.
We had no idea there was actually a career, right, of people that did this. It's one of the largest industries ever, but you don't know till what you don't know. And they sent us off to training, and we thought, oh, they're just going to teach us how to make little screen printed t-shirts or something we can do on the weekends. We can maybe sell some coffee cups at a fair type thing. And let's say with under a year and a half of doing it and just using our network and resources, we were all full time. We walked out of corporate America and hung our own shingle up, and we've been doing it ever since. It's been fun.
That's amazing. So the transition, some people get transition from corporate, and some
right.
people transition from corporate, and you did the transition. So how do you take the step because I know a lot of people really worry about this. Like when they're going to change, they're like, oh crap, I don't have a safety net.
Yeah.
It's all that kind of stuff. How did you decide, yep, this is our time?
It was scary. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie, it scared the dickens out of me.
Yeah.
From going from that regular paycheck to the with the benefits and that consistent revenue coming in. Um, I chose to transition out. I guess fortunately, my husband did not. So he had enough severance packages that helped us over the long period or over the short period. And the way we founded our company initially was we used our 401 to create a C Corp to finance the company. So we were fortunate enough that our previous careers supported us financially, that we had some time to grow.
Hmm.
And we, just networked like crazy, used our associations that we already were members of, people that we worked with in our past lives, and just let them know. But network, and get that, if we're in branding, so we had to make sure our brand awareness was out there. So
Hmm.
that's what we focused on probably for the first 5 years, getting out there.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad you brought up networking, because I think it's such a critical piece of starting most businesses, and that can
Oh
be
yeah.
either you find potential customers or find referrals. So how did you stay disciplined in that? Because you can get busy doing the business and then you're not doing the networking. How do you do both?
Uh, yeah, happy mediums, right?
Hmm.
Balance. The reason why we did this was for balance, but obviously when you're on your own, there's the balance lines get really blurred. We laugh. It's like, well, did we start our own freedom or did we just create more chaos? Yeah. Um, really just picking the right groups to be in. And someone said a long time ago, it's not who we know, but who knows us.
Hmm.
And we still focus on that today. And as being in the RV world, we travel mostly in Texas. We don't get out much, but it's a big state. But we go and meet new people wherever we're at.
Hmm.
We'll check out local chambers, local networking groups, and maybe nothing ever comes of that. But I feel like it's one or two more people that knows who I am and knows that I exist.
Yeah.
And maybe somewhere down the line they might need me, or we can help them out. So
Yes. Yeah, it's always fun too. And it networking can be beneficial for us, but it's really great introducing people to other people and helping them
right.
out, getting them a right trusted connection that they know comes from us. And connecting people's a blast, isn't it?
It's fun. It's fun. That's what it's all about. I may not be able to work directly with you, but I might know somebody that can, you know, or make a
Yeah.
good referral partner for you. Even if you don't do business, you could be just great collaborators.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. Okay. So talk about, we talked about a lot of positives. How about, what was your kind of biggest challenge that you had to overcome?
Mm. God, there's so many. There's so many, but there's not, right? I feel like it's different stages. The first challenge was just, you know, you are your own boss,
Hmm.
and making sure you have that discipline. Because we go, it's kind of, reference to the last day of school for the kids. We go crazy. I don't have a boss. I don't have a schedule. I can do my laundry while I'm working. We just think it's going to be, sunshine and unicorns, but it's not. It's not all the time. Sometimes it is. So I guess the first point for me was just getting the discipline and my schedule down, that
Hmm.
this is my working hours and this is my off time, and not working that 24/7 and closing the laptop at a certain hour, because
Hmm.
it's too easy to go, oh, let me just check this one email. We're always on our phones, constant. Uh, so that was, and it's probably still a big challenge for me. I would say that I catch myself in the late hours going, oh, let me just answer this one response. And then it just triggers more. So
Yeah.
disciplining to turn it off. And then, yeah, as we hit the road, it's, my biggest challenge now is internet. I think the last time we spoke, I was in really bad area.
All right.
And it's like, I have to have strong internet. And if it's not there, I move or I go find some. But everything's done online these days, right? I love still meeting people in person when those
Sure.
opportunities come up. But I love the fact that, I mean, right now we're in two different cities talking and we're still connecting because we can.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What an amazing gift. I
Yeah.
appreciate the fact that you said the discipline to actually turn it off, because I think there's discipline to make sure you're doing the important things and not the stuff that you just like to do, but stuff that's going to actually grow the business. But then there's also the discipline of shutting it down and making
Yeah.
sure you are mentally healthy and can make better decisions and come up with better ideas. And I feel like
Yeah.
some folks really get stuck in that grind and they can't shut it off.
Yeah. It's hard. And like you just mentioned, that doing that focus time for business building, that's the part I don't like. I want to talk. I want to meet people. I want to solve their world branding problems.
Yeah.
But taking that discipline to really build is, it's tough. It takes, and that's where it's all out, really.
Yeah, it's something we do for all of our clients. We do every 90 days, we do a plan for the next quarter, and it can only be 6 things. And then you calendar them out on your calendar. And then crazy thing, you actually do them.
Yeah.
That's the really where the value is. It's boiling it down to amount of tasks that you can accomplish and then putting them on the calendar and accomplishing them and going through them. And then isn't it great to cross stuff off a list? It's beautiful.
And having accountability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Helps.
For sure. Okay. So if you were giving somebody advice and they wanted to start their own business, what kind of advice would you give them?
Like, how fast can you run? No. No, I always just tell people and I do believe this, make sure it's something you love to do. Make sure you have passion, because otherwise you're just creating yourself another job. And I ask people all the time, how did you get into what you're doing now? Because that tells the story. And when I work with my clients, I want to know the story behind their brands, their why. And so many people don't. They're like, oh, I don't have a story. I'm like, well, you do have a story. There's a reason you do what you do. There's a reason you left this place and built it on your own. And we want to know that story on the branding side, because that's your message on how to get that out. But if you don't really love what you do, then you're not going to enjoy it. You just created yourself another job. And it shows, right? It's going to show up. So I just want to make sure you're passionate about what you do and take it as far as you can.
I like the why. I'm really glad you said the why. I've heard that in another conversation recently. I think, man, if you're gonna go out and grind and take a financial everything, pretty much your savings, your life savings, you're gonna risk it on a thing. You better darn well be passionate about it, and you better have that fire in your belly for loving what you do. Otherwise, you're right. It's not gonna be sustainable. It's just gonna be. Yeah.
There's a lot of risk in jumping out on your own, not only financial, relationships on the personal side, there's stress. I mean, we're a husband and wife. Our kids were involved with it in the beginning of it. And there were some times we questioned, and I laugh now because we put a rule together when we first started, and we said, when this stops being fun, we quit.
Huh?
And I'll go work for somebody else, because if it's not fun where I'm at, I can go find it somewhere else. So 14 years later, we're still doing this. I guess that's a good sign. But there were times in the middle of it, I'm like, are we still having fun? You have to stop and do that check. It's like, is this still fun? Are we still having, does this give us pleasure at the end of the day? And keep questioning that. And if not, you need to fix it.
I love that. That's brilliant. That whole and the idea is maybe it's not as fun. Okay, why isn't it fun? And what can we do to make it fun again?
Yeah,
Maybe we can delegate some stuff that we don't like doing. If it's all detail stuff and I don't like that, great. Maybe we could delegate some of that to somebody else and do
absolutely.
what is fun and good for the business. And there's a kind of sweet
Yeah,
spot there, I think. Okay, so I
I
have to
agree.
ask you, you brought up the movie Up, which is a great movie. Loved it. And you said you're a big Disney fan, and that inspired your start. So did it inspire it from the promotions branding side or just from the, hey, we want to do our own thing? Or tell me more about that.
It was the lifestyle side. You know, we're it's always it was just resonated that, we had been thinking about this. We didn't know what kind of business we wanted to start. It's like we don't, and at the time, the type of business really was.
Okay, so we were talking about the movie Up and how it inspired your career or your new business that you started. So talk to me about like what was the why behind that? What was inspirational for you about that movie and how did it impact the way you made the decision?
It was more on the personal life side of it all that, we had both worked for someone else our entire lives, and between raising kids and trying to create a career, we realized that we were giving each other our leftovers
Hmm.
and our family the leftovers without time to enjoy extended family either. Um, so that was really our big why. And then, just so we had talked about doing something in the past, not really sure what it was going to be. But we knew after watching that we had to do something. And that was the catalyst to finding Storyteller Promotions on that. And the grape soda bottle cap is actually, I don't know if you can see it on my shirt, that's actually our logo. If you remember, Ellie gave it to Carl, and it was on the grape soda bottle cap on the safety pin, and they called that was the adventure badge. And so we stole that. We have the purple because it's the grape soda, and it's all our story. And that's what reminds us every day that this is our adventure and
Love it.
keeps us going. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's really wonderful. I love that. Yeah, what a great way to start a business and what a unique motivator to actually get it done. So let me see. I wanted to double back on one more thing. Oh, you love to tell stories, hence the name, and also branding. Talk to me about positioning your business from a branding perspective. What would you suggest people look for when they're thinking about branding? Give me some sage wisdom on that.
I always want people to get their message out in the right method. Um, we do promotional products, the tangible products that, whether it be apparel or trade show booths, awards, things like that. We use them with our clients for, employee client incentive gifts, recruitment, trade shows, holidays, gifting. But we speak with other people about their branding, it's more than slapping your logo on a coffee cup or a pen. Again, it's make it memorable, make it useful, and something they're not going to throw in the trash. Because to me, that I've been on the other side of the trade shows where you get that tote bag full of stuff,
Yeah.
and the first thing I would do is just start dumping stuff in the trash. And as I was doing that, and that's was we was moving into this business, I never forget that. It's like how many people paid good money for this, and I can't be the only person that threw it in the trash.
Yes.
So if you want to throw your money away, I'll take it, but it's not. I don't recommend it, and I want you to have value, but I really want the end user to have value.
Hmm.
And that's where your brand and your brand message is going to showcase. And I want to know, who's your audience? Where are they when they go, oh my God, I got to call Warren?
Yeah.
And what is that product that will be there when they need you and they use it and keep it? And if it's something trashy, it's not going to be there. It's going to be in the garbage somewhere, in a landfill. And there's enough of that everywhere else. So don't contribute to that. Yeah. And what's your brand's message? We work with a couple of renewable energy companies. So all of their products that we work with them on are all sustainable. They're made from recycled plastic bottles, or they're bamboo or paper. So that just tells their story even more, that they're conscious enough, their brand is conscious enough to really support that as well. Things like that. We get a little bit deeper.
Oh, that's brilliant. I think, yeah, I think what you said there was really brilliant, in that it's just like with networking. With a brand, it's the brand value all the way through. It's the brand value for the person that wants the branding, and it's a brand value for the consumer that is using the item, and then remembers you at the right time. So if you got it on both ends,
Right.
just like with networking, if you can help somebody else out, eventually it will help you out, and then that's a win-win.
Right.
And that's, if you can create those kinds of experiences, then that's a beautiful thing.
Right. And you find the ROI along the way between
Yeah,
networking and branding, right? It's, you know,
yeah, very much the same, very similar. So that's
yeah,
beautiful. Okay,
love it.
one last question. Promise is the last one. Husband and wife working together in business. I know you've been asked this before, but how do you navigate those waters?
We, and I know this is going to sound so cliche, we are very fortunate that we're best friends. And we get asked this so many times. And even when we were in the house in Houston, and when COVID hit and, shut everybody down, the phone calls, oh my God, how are you dealing with working next to your husband? I'm like, we've been doing this for 10 years. You guys are just now catching up. And I think because of our schedules over the years were so chaotic, and a lot of times complete opposites. He would
Hmm.
work midnight shift and I would work day shift, complete opposites. We saw each other in passing. So I think for us, it's kind of a catch up time. I know we're kind of unicorns in that way, that we're 30 years in our marriage going, oh, I kind of like you. uh, and now, the question's like, you're in an RV and you work there. There's not a lot of space
Yeah.
to get away. There is the great outdoors if it happens. But I think we're fortunate on the fact that we're complete opposites, right? So he's the visionary, I'm the tasker, and that works. We understood our roles very early, and when we started the business, we were fortunate to know his strengths versus my strengths,
Hmm.
and work those out. Um, like I said, I would much rather be customer facing, having conversations, than doing the business plans in the back. And
Hmm.
he loves those strategic visions, and then I can implement them. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we cross over. We both do everything now, but recognizing your strengths, and weaknesses.
Mhm.
And I see it just as in a regular workplace. You've got a team to work with, and you've got to balance those personalities. We just kind of put it in a whole lot smaller space.
Yeah. But I think what you said is, I've heard that a consistent theme. It's like, first of all, self-awareness, knowing what you're good at, what you like. And then
Yeah.
if you have complementary skills and you can do the stuff you like and he can do the stuff he likes, and they both build, then that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. We're pretty unicornish, I guess, on things, on marriage and running a business. It's, you got to like each other first.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you can partner together, communicate, and trust each other, life is pretty good then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, trust is the key. And we all say, I trust my spouse more than I would trust going into business with an outside partner, right?
Mhm.
We know each other's too deep. We know the deep, dark secrets.
Yeah, you got
You're
all the
not,
details.
you're, you're not going into business with a total stranger that you learn along the way. So we knew what we were getting into in advance. And we can't hide. There's no
Yeah,
hiding.
that's great. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
one more question. I keep saying that. Last one. Favorite place you visited in Texas?
Oh boy. Um, I don't know. Can I say Dallas because that's where my grandson is?
Sure, you can say Dallas. Yeah,
Yeah, we like to, not Dallas the city. We always stay outside the cities. Grapevine was very cool. We went to go see the Grapevine, the downtown area. If you've not been there, that's pretty cool. Downtown Columbus is here. It's pretty fun. So I really, when someone asks like, where do you want to go? I never traveled a lot. Um, so any place to me is an adventure and I just like to get out. I do have a happy place at the beach. We spent a month on Padre last year and going into, again, visiting the businesses and having fun. So um, I'll always probably take the beach over anything else.
nice. Not a bad choice. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, hey, Ruth, I've thoroughly enjoyed the time. Thank you so much for the great answers and transparency, and just congratulations on getting
Absolutely.
do what you love and do it wherever you want to do it.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thanks.
Absolutely. I hope you have a fabulous day.
You too. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.